me see. Let me turn this around.
Yeah, I tested this one this morning. It works. I just got it.
Boom. Sweet.
Okay, test. So we're here with Will. Will motivation. Okay. So we're here with Will motivation. So this is supposed to be hidden, just so you know, for future reference. Like whenever you're mastering this, just talk normally like you would in the video. You know, hey, we're here with Will motivation.
Yep.
Like those should be hitting -12.
Okay.
If you're hitting like -6 or higher, it's like peaking. It's like distorted. Exactly.
Okay.
So if you want to just throw this under your shirt, and then you can clip it.
Oh, sorry.
No worries.
Test.
Yeah.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. There we go. I'll probably talk like this. Da 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 da. Yeah, I'll probably speak up once we sit down.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, just talk normally. Like, hey, how'd you get it? You know, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, this should be good.
All right. Cool.
All right. So you can throw that in your pocket.
I don't have to worry about pressing the buttons.
You gotta press record, but yeah, you can do that right now.
Record. There we go.
Cool.
All right.
I'm gonna check, make sure this live is working. We're live with 30. What's up? Here he is. We're about to talk about some good stuff here. We're shooting a video. You guys can just tune in and be a fly on the wall. We got Marko here all the way from Cleveland.
What's up, everybody?
A couple of Ohio boys.
That's right, Buckeyes.
Talk about some. Are we live too? Sweet.
What up? All right, let me just mic this up. So test, just talking normally. What's up, Will? What's up? What's going on? Okay, yeah, it should be good. Okay, you want to just hit your record button?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, good. Perfect.
I'll double check it.
Oh, you know what? I just threw this over my shirt.
Yeah, we're good. 1 minute and count.
Perfect.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you coming down, man.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's a pleasure. Okay, so let me just grab my phone real quick. Oh, actually, you know what? I'll keep this up.
Okay.
Okay, make sure we got this going. Okay, and then, all right, we're rolling.
Sweet.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Wakeboard Finance. We got my buddy Will Motivation in the house. We got two Buckeyes. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio, as you guys know. Will is from Columbus, so it's nice to come down a little bit, a couple of degrees warmer, believe it or not. So only a 2-hour car drive got me over here with this real estate living legend. So yeah, just introduce yourself for people that don't know you and your story.
Sure. So my name is Will Moss, but I go by Will Motivation on YouTube. I'm actually, like you said, from Columbus, Ohio. I started doing YouTube when, I'm a car fanatic. So my first YouTube videos were like my Mustang, me modifying it, just little stuff. I wanted to one day get a Lamborghini, and I wanted to document it on YouTube to kind of share with people. And that's part of my way of justifying it. But the other part of justifying buying a Lambo was I got into real estate investing. And so once I started talking about how I bought the Lamborghini, and I started touching on entrepreneurship and also touching on investing in real estate, that topic seemed to start to take off. So that's sort of the basis of my YouTube channel.
Awesome, great. So the main reason why I decided to come down here and talk to Will is because he speaks what he does. So he just doesn't just walk the walk, or excuse me, talk the talk, he walks the walk as well. So how long have you been investing in real estate at this point?
So not including my first home that I purchased, that did turn out to be a real estate investment. I've been investing since 2010,
okay.
So about 8 years.
Great. Okay, so for people that are beginners or interested in real estate investing, What is your number one tip to those people? How do you recommend beginners or people that have no clue how to get started or don't have any experience, how do you recommend for them to get started?
So getting started investing in real estate, probably the number one tip would be for the average person, right? Because I think there's people that are excited and gung-ho about jumping into investing in real estate and they don't even have their first house yet.
Okay.
So usually I recommend that people look at buying where they live as a starting point, and buying at a good price and as a good investment, so that you buy a single family home or whatever it might be, or maybe a duplex, and it turns into something that can rise in value and rise in equity, that can be a springboard into all of that energy people have about jumping into investing in real estate, but owning your first property, and then leveraging that. Because that's really how I got into investing in real estate. Now, if it's to answer that question for people that may already have their first home, how do they get started investing in real estate? The next step is, and this is what I did, speaking of walking the walk, I started researching and studying what successful real estate investors do and what their stories were. I bought books. My number one go-to book is The Millionaire Real Estate Investor.
Okay.
And just studying real estate, studying success stories, and then applying that to your own situation.
Okay, so kind of like if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind
Right.
of a mentality.
Right.
Yeah, mimic other successful people. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, very good. So in terms of, we talked about how to get started. What about running the business? What are some things that people may not know about once they own that first property? Everyone sees the glitz and glamour of being a landlord.
Yeah,
What are some
yeah.
horror stories?
So that's an interesting question, because when I first started getting into investing in real estate, so I worked a corporate job for like 10 years.
Okay.
So I was a software engineer for 10 years, working at AT&T, and I had some buddies that came out of college and they had a little bit more hustle than I did, at least on that kind of thing. So they got started investing in real estate. And I would always look at them and say, man, I don't want to be a landlord. I don't want to be dealing with those problems that you guys are talking about, fixing up no houses. I don't want to be involved in that, right? So that was my mind frame. But really, once I started my own business and got out as an entrepreneur in the software world and the online.com world, and I started running that business for some years, I got more comfortable with dealing with customers, dealing with clients, dealing with problems, solving the problems, looking at numbers. And then when it came time and I saw the opportunity in real estate, I was able to apply the business sense that I gained to being a landlord, to being an investment, real estate investor. And so some of the things that people need to know is numbers, man.
Yeah.
Numbers. You can't have a good real estate investment if you don't know how to do numbers. And it's not that they're complicated.
Mm-hmm.
It's basic subtraction, addition, multiplication, and division. Knowing percentages and things of that nature. So knowing numbers and not being afraid to deal with customers and clients.
Okay. So a lot of entrepreneurs, they talk about systematizing their business. How do I make my life easier once I get this business rolling? What are some ways that you systematize your property management group or landlordship, if you will?
Man, that's a great question. That's a really, really good question. So I have sort of a strategic advantage.
Okay.
Because my background is in software engineering. So I was looking for, when I first started investing in real estate, I used spreadsheets.
Okay.
So I would plug in addresses and numbers related to different properties. But once I started getting beyond 10 properties, and I had work related to those different properties, like rehab, I had customers, I had contracts and all this kind of thing. So my strategic advantage was my software background. I built a system. I built a property management system.
Wow.
Where I did invoicing based off the system. I email my tenants every month with their invoice. They get a receipt. I automated all that.
Smart.
And so to answer your question, I automated everything. I put everything online, and tenants can go do everything from a service request to pay online payments for their rent, and all that kind of thing based off of the software that I built.
So it's kind of all in the cloud. They don't really have to call you at 2 in the morning when they got a leaky faucet or a clogged toilet.
And I had help too.
Yeah.
So one of the advantages I had being an entrepreneur is I had staff.
Okay.
So I had an executive assistant, and so she would handle some of those calls when I couldn't.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So you know, I used whatever I had whatever resources I had at my fingertips. So for the average person, it might not be that you have staff member that can handle it, but it might be your mom, it might be your cousin, or it might be your brother or sister that has a whole bunch of free time on their hands, but they're good at dealing with people.
Absolutely.
So you might bring them in and say, hey, I'll give you 5% of the rent every month. You handle the phone calls for me, and then build a list of contractors to handle whatever comes up.
And that way they have a little bit of skin in the game, and they have your success in mind as well, because they're getting that percentage.
Exactly.
That's very smart.
Yep.
So how has becoming an entrepreneur, you know, comparing the 9-to-5 corporate gig for 10 years to becoming an entrepreneur, how has that changed your life?
Oh man.
For the better or for worse?
Oh, for the better, for sure. For the better, for sure. And it's just that I think so many things passed through my mind that if I had kept on the corporate route, what my life might look like versus going and becoming an entrepreneur and what my life looks like now.
Mm-hmm.
I basically followed my passion and followed my dreams, and there was no guarantee. So a lot of that gets blurred by the hustle and the fact that I'm not focusing so much on a Lambo as I am focusing on survival.
Well said.
You know, so I work a lot, but I come to find out, you know, that I have that. It's sort of like in my DNA.
Yeah.
I'm a hustler. I work. I'm not afraid to try new things. But you know, if I stayed the corporate route, I have no doubt that I would have been successful climbing the corporate ladder, and you know, I almost went to work for Microsoft. You know, there's a lot of different opportunities I've had in the corporate space, and I would have probably done well. But there's freedom with entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
And even though, like, a lot of people think freedom and they're like thinking of being on a beach, but sometimes it's just freedom of choosing what you want to work on.
Absolutely.
You know, like, because you know you have to work, you got to pay your bills, but sometimes it's just the freedom to decide, you know what, I'm going to focus my energy and efforts on what I'm good at and what I think I can be successful with.
Yeah, that's well said, and those become almost like passion projects rather than being work themselves.
Yes.
So it's you're working, like we're both hustling, you know, he's got his channel, I got my channel. You know, we've been putting out content for, you know, 2-3 years combined now at this point. But to me, YouTube doesn't feel like work because I like doing it, you know. So it's very well said.
Yeah.
So ultimately, you got a couple kids. I saw in your videos, you know, a couple kids, your father. How has that affected, you know, taking risks and, you know, buying that next property or things like that?
Man, that's a great question as well, man. The family sacrifice. So, it did affect. So it slowed me down in the beginning. So when I was in my corporate job, I had 2 little kids. I was married at the time, and so part of me, if I was single and wasn't married, I probably would have left my job really quick.
Yeah.
But when I had the family, it was like, you know what? Whatever I decide to do is going to affect them.
That stability.
Yeah, they needed that stability, and so it slowed me down at the beginning. But at the end of the day, it's like, I don't know if you watched Gary Vaynerchuk.
Yeah,
and he's like, you know, this is just who I am, you know. And so for me, it was like, I can't sacrifice myself completely because then I'll be no good to anybody. And if I'm unhappy, right?
That's right.
So it was that and making that decision to jump out, even though we were kind of all at risk. But you know, at the end of the day, I had my family behind me. Not financially, you know. Nobody was like driving Lambos or anything back then, but I had the support, you know, and I knew I wasn't gonna be homeless at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But I was gonna work my butt off. But it at the same time, you gotta be confident in yourself. You gotta build up your own skill set where you know how to do something and do it well, and then just go based off of that, and then go hard.
Okay.
So yeah, you know, that kind of at the end of the day was like, I don't want to look backwards and regret. So you know, I had to jump out, man.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about regret. So if you would have went, you know, let's call it, you would have went the corporate gig, you're climbing the corporate ladder, you know, everything's stable, everything's good. You know, talk to people, because my audience is a little bit younger. I can see the demographics based on YouTube stats. A lot of them are, you know, late teens, early mid-20s. Let's talk about, you know, regret. You know, a lot of these people, they may not realize, like, hey, you know, I want the stability, but they're going to wake up tomorrow and be 55 years old, you know?
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about, you know, how entrepreneurship has kind of set you free in a way.
Yeah, man, because if I had not have taken the entrepreneurship route, I would have regretted it. You know, it's just in my blood, it's in my DNA. My grandfather was an independent landscaper, and he quietly did millions.
Yeah.
You know, nobody in the family even knew.
That's
You know, and he was quietly down there in Florida with the nursery in his backyard, and he paid off everything when he left. You know, it's just kind of my DNA, man, and I would regret it not taking that chance. And the thing is, we can get comfortable, you know what I mean? And sometimes when you're comfortable, you don't grow.
That's right.
Right?
Well
So
said.
you know what I mean? So you just can't be scared, but at the same time, I don't recommend that people like just jump out based on energy and gun ho.
Yeah.
You got to jump out based on what you know, what you studied, what skills you have, what proof of concept you've done for whatever business. So like, for example, if you're getting into real estate or you're getting into investing in the stock market, what success have you demonstrated? Like on the side, just on the part-time. Build up that success on the side until it turns into something. So like at the time when I quit my job, I was only making about $9,000 on the side in a year.
Yeah.
Which is not enough to carry. You know, I was making $90,000 on the corporate side.
Yeah.
But I knew I had proof of concept. So I knew if I put all of my energy into that business that was making $9,000, maybe I could turn it into $90,000 or more. And there was no limit. And where in my corporate job there was a limit. Because I went to my boss and I said, we're doing, you know, your annual review and you see if you're gonna get a raise and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, okay, so my trajectory here is I wanna be a distinguished member of the technical staff, which is like the highest level.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he said, nah, I don't see it. So I'm like, wow, this guy is telling me he doesn't see my potential, and I know I have the potential, but he's telling me he doesn't see it, and he's not giving me a path to get there.
That's right.
So it was like, okay, I want to be into something where I have no limits.
You had that glass ceiling over your head in the corporate gig.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, and that's full of regret.
So what Will, very well said by the way, so what Will is talking about by proving the concept on the side is what we call in startup terms your minimal viable product, so your MVP. So if you figure out, okay, I'm going to start this course or I'm going to start investing in real estate, you have to have a minimum viable product to where you know yourself, like, hey, if I don't just dip my toe in, if I go gung-ho and dive off the deep end, I already know that it's a proven concept.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Okay, so just so you guys know why we're probably sitting here like this in front of the
We need a
camera. We're in Columbus, Ohio, in the middle of November, so in the middle of a garage. So if we look a little bit tense on camera, that's why. But he's dropping fire, so it's good information.
Appreciate it.
So with that being said, what books or what resources other than the Millionaire Real Estate Investor? That's Gary Keller, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, Gary Keller is the guy that created Keller Williams. So if you guys see the big red and white KW, that's him. It's a great book. I recommend it. It's in my personal library as well. What other resources do you recommend for someone looking to get started?
Man, that's a good question, and I'm glad you said resources instead of sticking to books, because honestly, man, that is one of the only like full books that I read from cover to cover, and I actually I bought the book first, then I found it on audio,
Okay.
and then I listened to it probably 20 times because I'm always
in the Lambo. You're driving the Lambo.
Yeah, that was before. That was about 2010.
That was in the Mustang. My bad.
That was definitely the
That was
Mustang.
in the Mustang.
So, but I listened to that thing probably more than 20 times from end to end.
Yep.
It was such a good read or listen, and it was getting me comfortable with investing in real estate. So that was the number one book that I recommend. But then I bought other books, but I didn't read them end to end like that. I would reference different parts of the books. Like for example, Scott McGilvery, the guy who used to have an income property show on HGTV.
Okay.
I bought his books. He's got one on flipping. He's got one on buy and hold. And I would just use pieces of those books when I needed them. But I got my foundation from the Millionaire Real Estate Investor and going online and studying the market. And I think my entrepreneurial background and having run a business for several years helped me recognize just numbers, man.
Yeah.
And then looking at other case studies of successful people. So I had YouTube. I had websites that were out there and helping me understand different concepts. But more than anything, man, it was experience.
Very good. Yeah, absolutely. For you guys, for beginners out there, Will is also going to have a resource coming out here soon. I don't know much about it, but you mentioned it when we were talking earlier. Do you want to give a quick shout out on that?
Sure. So it's learn.willmotivation.com. It's going to be an online course helping people learn how to make money investing in real estate, primarily through flips and then also through buy and hold rental properties.
Great, okay.
Yeah.
So, we're starting to wrap up here, I don't wanna keep this too long, but it's a great conversation. I know this is very high level for you guys, but it's important. This was more of an introduction to Will, just because he's got all the good stuff on his channel. It's way more than I can do right now with just a quick interview. But just ultimately to wrap things up, what's the biggest reason that people, they have all these big ambitions, they have all these big goals, but they just can't get up and do it? What's the one thing holding them back, and what do you recommend for those kinds of people?
I think if it's the one big thing, man, it's actually just going out and doing it. But a lot of times people are paralyzed because they don't feel like they have enough knowledge.
Okay.
Right? But even with a little bit of knowledge, like before I got into investment in real estate, I didn't have any real estate background, no educational
No
background,
family,
none of that. No, my
rich
family wasn't
kids
doing
ahead.
it. No.
Yeah, exactly.
So the thing that made me move forward was that I knew if I sat on my butt and used any excuse, then I would be sitting on my butt. So I just had to start taking steps towards what I wanted, which was learning how to buy more and more real estate and make money with that real estate. And I just had to start moving in that direction.
Yep.
So, and nobody was pushing me, I had to push myself. So don't for most people, I think the answer is knowledge, that they feel like they don't have the knowledge, but you can't let that stop you. You actually have to go out and get the knowledge and just start trying things and talking to people that are successful, that are out there doing it.
Very good. Well said. All right, brother. Thank you so much
Hey,
for
man,
coming on the
thank
channel,
you.
man. Will Motivation. I'll link his channel link down in the description below. Check him out and subscribe. He's got a lot of good stuff in there. Real life stuff, not just this, not just mouth talk. So thank you so much for coming on the channel, man.
Hey, thank you, man, and let's do it for my channel.
Absolutely. Sounds good, brother. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah. Sorry, real quick. Let me just, because this cuts off at 25 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so let me just start a new one. Yeah, that was awesome, brother. Thank you.
All right, so you want to just, for ease, we'll do mine on your camera for ease?
Yeah, and I can send you the file. I can do whatever you want. Or do you want to grab yours? Whatever's easier for you,
It's
man.
easier, bro.
Okay, it's already set up. Yeah, I can drop this through like Dropbox or whatever, so.
All right, cool.
Cool.
We got 50 people on.
Nice.
You
Let's
ready?
Okay.
For part 2?
Yep. Let me just make sure these are still recording.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, that's good.
So I don't have to re-hit it or anything?
No, you're good. We'll just, actually, you know what? Let's
Stop
cut
and
it.
start it.
Yeah, let's cut it.
All right. just
Okay,
like that.
and then just hit the record button again.
Here we go.
Okay, Will Motivation audio for Will. Okay, so, alright, we're good. Yeah, the thing with this camera, the only thing I don't like is that it stops at 25 minutes.
Stop at 15.
Yeah, there you go, so I just wanna make sure.
Canon, right? Canon, you guys gotta get that together. Okay, so. Alright, I'm gonna figure out how I'm going to, I'll cut it up.
Yeah, no worries, no worries.
Alright, so start with the introduction of yourself, and I'll just, once you get a background, I'll start asking some questions. Just send me the
Sure, yeah.
Alright, what's up everybody, this is Will Motivation. I'm here with Marko from Whiteboard Finance. Definitely check out his channel, but first things first, why don't you introduce yourself to the Will Motivation Nation?
Thank you. What's going on, everybody? Will, thank you so much for having me, buddy.
Sure.
If you guys don't know, you may have seen Will on my channel. If you don't know my channel, go check it out. It was a great interview. You can probably learn more on Will's channel about real estate investing, but he touched on a lot of good high-level stuff on my channel as well. So just to give you a quick introduction, I'm Marko. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. Made the drive down to Columbus.
Appreciate it.
Of course, my pleasure, man. It's nice. I get to go down to Columbus. It's like 4 or 5 degrees warmer, so life is good. So yeah, I appreciate you having me, Will. Quick introduction, my name is Marko. Again, I run a channel called Whiteboard Finance. We talk about real estate investing, stock market investing, entrepreneurship, and a little bit of personal finance. These days, I'm going more towards stocks and a little bit towards real estate investing just because it's a low barrier to entry. I was talking to Will, we talked about the barrier to entry with some things is that the price is too high to get into. You can flip cars, you can buy real estate, but sometimes people just may not have money for those kinds of things. People may have a couple $100 lying around, and that's all you need to get started investing in the stock market. So that's primarily the focus of my channel.
Excellent, man. So speaking of the stock market, I got a little bit of experience investing in the stock market, but I'm way far from being an expert. I do know a couple of stock market millionaires. So I want to know how you got into investing in the stock market and what's your background a little bit. Tell your story.
Yeah, absolutely. So my background, I've been investing in the stock market for about 12 years. I'm 30 years old now. I started when I was 18, so it's about to be 13 years, which is crazy. Time flies, you guys. So I like to say that time in the market is better than timing the market, if that makes sense. You know, you got a lot of people that, you know, they want to make these quick come ups with day trading and stuff like that. You can definitely make money like that. My philosophy is a little bit different. I'm more of a long-term value investor, so I look for companies that are undervalued. That way, if I buy it today, I know, not with 100% guarantee, otherwise I'd be a billionaire, but you know that for the most part those companies are going to do well in the future. So I graduated December of 2010. It was a bloodbath. For those of you old enough to remember, you know how the recession was, man, 08, 09. You know, I graduated into a 11% unemployment job market. Wow. It was crazy. That's 1 out of every 10 people, you guys had no job. So I started selling cars at 18 years old, and I was also investing in the stock market at that time. Or excuse me, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. I invested in the stock market when I was 18, but I started selling cars after I graduated college. So I was about 22 when I graduated, and I had a finance degree, you know, I'm bilingual, I had internships, I did everything you're supposed to do, you know, with school, and I ended up selling cars, which is fine, because I'm a car guy, I love cars, and I love, you know, this one right behind me too. But, you know, it's like, I could have done that without a high school degree. So it's kind of like, that got me thinking, like, the only way I'm going to become, you know, financially free or independent or get out of that quote-unquote rat race is if I start investing in stocks, because that's what I see wealthy people do. And we talked about that on my channel, you know, why reinvent the wheel? Just mimic what wealthy people or successful people do, and you will ultimately become that. So a little bit of stocks, I got a couple rental properties, so I know the language that Will is speaking. And also, I still have a 9 to 5. You know, I'm happily employed at a big bank in Cleveland, so it's a good job, and I work with numbers all day long, so it keeps me sharp. And ultimately, I do have, you know, some other revenue from the YouTube channel, which I can get into later. But I think having those multiple streams of revenue is kind of like the goal to, you know, keeping you, you know, sane. Because with entrepreneurs, man, you gotta always have a project going on. So I know it's a long-winded answer, but yeah.
No, the more the better, man, because what I like to do is provide exposure to different things for my audience. So a lot of people, when I do the videos on real estate investing, a lot of people will ask me, well, do you know anything about investing in cryptocurrency? Do you know anything about investing in the stock market? And I know a little bit more about investing in the stock market, but not very much. And I thought I was going to be a day trader, you know what I mean? I remember I was at my corporate job, I used to bring my laptop to work to day trade. And I didn't know what I was doing.
That was me in college.
You know? So I really would like to know, especially with this, you know, you just launched an online course, right?
It's a membership group.
So if you want to talk a little bit about that, and what I'm excited about is having you on at the beginning of that, and as you kind of start this entrepreneurial journey, because I'm very confident that you're going to be very successful with that.
Thank you.
And so then later on down the road, we'll say, you know, this was then and now look at now. So
that's right.
Talk a little bit about your goals, man, and also about what you're doing with your online.
No, I really appreciate that. So what Will is referring to is called the Informed Investor. So the Informed Investor is a stock market membership group. So it's an ongoing membership. It's just like a membership to Planet Fitness, but for your finances, right? So instead of going to the gym, well, you can go to the gym too, maybe before or after, but check out the Informed Investor. So without turning this into a shameless plug, just the value that you get, you guys, I share my personal portfolio, I share daily updates of the trades that I'm making, whether it's a buy or a sell. I have weekly market commentary, so what happened for the week and what I think is private live streams every month with all the members in the community. So I'm really trying to turn it into a vibrant stock market community. So it's going to be growing here real quick. So I just launched it last night, believe it or not, and I'm already getting members signed up. It's incredible. So
congratulations.
Thank you very much. But the biggest piece of value, you know, because I don't recommend following anybody's stock investment philosophy. You can use it as a guideline, but don't follow people verbatim. You have to develop your own strategy and get your own thought process.
Right. Do your own research.
Exactly. So speaking of research, the biggest piece of value that I can offer in the Informed Investor is the equity research reports. So these are proprietary information. You know, it's my information. I'm sourcing it from a very reputable source. And ultimately, what we're doing is we're doing surveys for industry channels. So like if we're studying Apple, for example, we're not going on the Apple's website and saying, oh, this is what, you know, their fundamentals are. Like, oh, their PE ratio is this, their stock price is this. Anybody can do that. We're talking to Apple suppliers. We're calling them on the phone. We're finding out that way if iPhone sales are going to be up or down. So that's just one small example. So the equity research reports alone, I mean, these are Wall Street quality. Yeah, these are probably, you know, $1,500, $2,500. but with the number of members I hope to get into the group, that's gonna subsidize the cost.
Sweet, dude. So excellent, man. So one thing I like to do, right? So a lot of times on my channel, I like to not only talk about real estate and people can see I got the Lambo and that kind of thing, but I like to talk about specific case studies where it might be one property and what happened with this one property. Can you think of any, either in your story or a story of someone that you've worked with in the past that has like a success story with a particular stock or a particular portfolio or something like that to get people kind of, excited or whatever?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, the returns are definitely there. So Canopy Growth, it's actually a cannabis stock. So like I didn't really delve into those penny stocks or those biopharma stocks that explode overnight. But I thought, hey, Canada's talking about legalization. There's a lot of hype online, and actually that's one of my most popular videos. I shot it in December of 2017,
Okay.
and it was the top 3 marijuana stocks for 2018.
Okay.
Okay, so I did a prediction for the year, and you can go back on my channel and see that video. But I actually doubled my money. I made 100% on Canopy
There
Growth.
it is. Yeah.
So in literally 1 month. So
In 1 month.
In 1 month. So I bought it in December of 17, and it literally doubled by January of 18.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So if you guys don't understand that or don't grasp that, doubling your money, that's 100% return on investment.
Correct.
So if you put in 50 grand and a month later you would have had 100 grand. And the thing that's, I think, really attractive to people about the stock market is when you get that kind of return on investment. It's not an everyday thing or every time thing,
Yeah.
but when you get that, it balances out your portfolio. So wherever you might have not done as well, you get a win like that by having multiple stocks and different stocks, you can come up. And the other thing that's really impressive about that and really exciting about that is that you don't have to, like with real estate, usually you got to get your hands dirty a little bit.
Yeah.
You got to get into the weeds. You got to deal with contractors.
Literally.
And a lot of things that people, a lot of people literally, right? And a lot of people, they make the decision that that's not for them. But there's other investment vehicles. And so, here Marko is talking about an example where probably a lot of my viewers can relate to is the marijuana stock, right? But as an example of something that's becoming is grass, right? It's just like tobacco is another type of, it's the same, but people invest in tobacco companies, and now you have the opportunity to invest in marijuana companies,
Yeah.
and stocks there. But I'm sure there's many other different types of
Absolutely.
stocks, that you do your research on, and you partner with folks like Marko that can provide you with more information so that you can make an informed decision.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just to your point, it's kind of like, it sounds cliche, but you don't want to have all your eggs in one basket. So you want to have a lot of different baskets holding a couple eggs. So what I mean by that is, if you have 10 grand to invest, you don't want to put 10 grand just into one, cannabis stock or one stock in general. That's very risky. You want to have a lot of small positions in multiple stocks. That way, if one does bad, the other does good, they kind of balance themselves out. So that's very well said. Another thing is, I think just with people that are interested about becoming, an entrepreneur, becoming an investor, whether it's real estate or just coming up or improving their life in general, I think going back to that multiple streams of revenue, I think if you study a little bit of real estate, if you study a little bit of stocks, if you study a little bit of, flipping cars, whatever your hustle is, I think that's really how you increase your wealth pretty quickly.
All right, so I'm going to transition. So we know whiteboard finance.
Correct. Thank you.
But let's transition into the fun stuff, right? So, and making money is fun, of course. But just from your background, what I always like to do, I do supercar interviews. What's your dream car?
My dream car?
When everything pops off the way
Yep.
it's supposed to pop off, what's the dream car you're gonna get?
The dream car, man. Okay, so this part of me says I have a realistic dream car, then I have like the dream car.
I know both of them. Yeah.
Okay, both of them. So the realistic dream car is a E39 M5. So
Okay.
that's an M5 built anywhere from like 97 to 2003.
Yep.
In my opinion, that's one of the best sedans ever made. You can have your baby seat in the back doing 200 miles an hour, with heated seats,
Yeah.
But the dream car, man, is gotta be the SL55 AMG.
Okay.
It's just classy. I like it. Like the Lambo, don't get me wrong, it's beautiful. I've always been a German car guy, man. It's gonna be the drop top SL55 AMG or the SLS, the Gullwing. I mean, that's the dream car right
So
there.
when you get that, give me a ride.
Okay, absolutely, absolutely. You gotta buy lunch though.
Oh yeah, I got you, man. I got you. So yeah, man. I always like to kind of understand, you know, some of the fun stuff like cars because I was driven by cars. But what is something else that has motivated you as an entrepreneur? Because like for me, having an end goal, like having a nice car and having a nice lifestyle was one thing. But I was also driven by a fear of being broke, you know, because I grew up kind of poor. And then I was also driven by like the fear of failure. So what were some of your driving factors and some of the things that do drive you?
That's an excellent question, Will. So my parents are Eastern European immigrants. They moved to Cleveland when they were in their late teens, and my parents didn't move here from Eastern Europe for me to not succeed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that's my chip on the shoulder. You know, I'm sure a lot of your viewers, their situation in life may not be the greatest right now. But you can't blame others. You got to be like Will, you guys. You got to just take the bull by the horns and just, learn. Increase your knowledge through books, and then, increase your knowledge through resources like Will or even myself at this point. And that's how you succeed. And you got to jump in. You can't just dip a toe in. You have to go all in. So like running a channel, it's a lot of work, but I love doing it because it doesn't feel like work. So what drives me to succeed is that my parents didn't move here from a different continent for me to be a loser. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's
talks about that a lot.
exactly.
Yeah.
He's an Eastern European immigrant as well. He's from Belarus. My parents, they're from Eastern Europe. That's one thing. The other thing is I'm married. I have a beautiful wife. Knock on wood. I got very lucky. I don't know how. It's just I got lucky, man. That's all I'm gonna say.
So that's a driving factor.
That's a driving factor. It's not. So that came off the wrong way. That came off the wrong way. No. So she's not the one, going shopping and stuff like that. She's awesome. I love her. I got very lucky. But I'm in a position to where, we're looking for a forever home. I want to start a family. I want to be a father, just like you are. And, buying that nicer house just so my kids can grow up nicer than I did, that's my biggest driving factor as well.
Hey, man. Excellent, dude. And I got a good feeling that you're going to make it happen, bro.
Thank you.
And it looks like you already are.
Thank you.
So another thing, man, I wanted to touch on because I wouldn't say I'm a college proponent, but I'm an education proponent. So like I really believe that people should invest in themselves through education. So I'm curious as to your thoughts on how having your finance degree maybe helped you. So like in my situation, I got a degree in computer science. Finance and computer science are like two of the hottest degrees that you can get right now because I'm in that space. I help with my main business. I help people get jobs. And I call those degrees practical because you learn knowledge that you can use in business.
That's right.
Where you can develop, where you can create product with. So like in my computer science degree and background, I learned how to write code. And so I wrote millions of lines of code to do things that actually turned out to make me a lot of money, make me literally millions of dollars. So I'm curious as to what words you have for my viewers about education and your finance degree and maybe how that helped you and what you're doing now.
Yep, so I will say, I still work, 9 to 5, and that's because I got my finance degree. So that pays for the bills. YouTube and all my other sources of income, that's just gravy on top. I can live off of what I make. So to develop a solid career, I think, in this day and age, you really do need to have a college degree. But I think, I'm still of the proponent where I believe like blue collar work is still very necessary, but at the end of the day, you need education, you need a mentor. So even taking an apprenticeship, that can be a form of education. So to Will's point, don't just, sit around and play video games all day. I mean, that's fine if you want to do that, but the work you put in is kind of like coding, garbage in, garbage out, right? The effort that you put in is what you're going to get out of it. So just by me finishing my finance degree, I'm employable, and even though I don't want to work more than 9 to 5, I have a fallback. That's the safety net, exactly. So it's important to have that base foundation because if you guys are ambitious, and if you're hustlers, and you want to be entrepreneurs, it's always good to have that safety net, whether it's family, friends, education. Education will always be your safety net. My mom always told me, they can take, physical possessions, but they can't take what's outside their, inside their head, excuse me. So yeah, absolutely. That's the safety net, and then you can pursue your bigger goals, and then hopefully one day you can be joining Will.
And then having that finance background, you're gonna know all of the ins and outs of when it's a good time financially to do something like that.
Absolutely.
So I think that's great, man. I'm not one of those people that shoves college down people's throat. Like for example, my daughter is a senior in high school, and I'm saying, you know what? Here's what college is good for, and actually she's looking at going into finance.
Right, it's a great field,
right? but I said, if you do go to college, pick a degree that gives you a skill, that gives you some knowledge that you can use, because all the other types of degrees, you can learn on your own.
That's right.
You know, you're spending money for this kind of thing. And so I always just like to kind of touch on that, man, so I appreciate that insight. So I know we've been talking a while, man, and my main objective was to introduce my audience to you and what you're doing. So if you want to just give some final words about some of the things that you're into and what they can look forward to if they subscribe to your channel.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. So what we do is we have a live stream every Saturday talking about what happened in the market. On Sundays, I consistently recap what happened in the stock market just so you guys get a quick bite-sized view within 10 minutes of what happened for the week and what's most likely going to happen for next week. As we mentioned, I have the membership group called the Informed Investor. That's going to be a ton of value for what the price is. You guys, it's going to be less than a gym membership. And again, all about the topic of knowledge. You're going to get a lot of knowledge out of those equity research reports and also by following, my trades and my portfolio. The biggest thing is I give a reason why I'm doing things. I'm not just one of those people that says, oh, you need to do this, this, and this, and there's no learning opportunity from that. Giving the reason why helps people learn. So ultimately, we're talking about real estate investing. You guys are already here with Will for that. Personal finance a little bit here and there, and mostly stock market investing. So if you guys are interested, definitely check out the channel. I'd appreciate it.
So last point, because I think this is kind of a crucial point, is, and it's something that I like to do as well. You talk about your own investments. I like to talk about my own real estate scenarios, and I give all the numbers on this is how much I paid. These are all the numbers of the house. This is how much money it makes in rental income. So you do that same thing.
Absolutely.
With
your, absolutely. Yeah. That's why we're sorry to interrupt you, but that's why I respect your channel, man. That's why I respect you.
And likewise. Yeah. Likewise. And so that's my pitch for you guys to go check out his channel, is that he does the same type of thing that I do, and he shows his own scenarios with his own investments. And sometimes, you can invest in something and it might not go how you plan for it to go, but the fact that you shared it, and then you can learn from it.
It's a learning experience.
So, kudos to you, man.
Thank you. It's never a failure until you learn from it. If you don't learn from it, then it's a failure. But if you fail, you learn from it, it's just a little cost of education. That's it.
So we want to thank Marko for taking this time to sit down with Motivation Nation. One last time, shout out to your channel.
Whiteboard Finance. All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, appreciate it.
There it
Cool.
is.
Yeah, thank you. That's good.
We got 54.
Nice.
All right, people.
Yeah, sorry, bro.
You good. So we're about to log off, man. We were just actually recording 2 future videos, one for his channel, one for mine, and wanted you guys to get the sneak peek, get the inside look, and definitely go check out his channel, man. If you guys are here on the live stream, but it's cold out here, so man, we're gonna wrap it up. But thank you guys for tuning in. Drop your comments, and look forward to the next videos coming out soon.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Peace. Oh, somebody put a super chat in here too.
Nice. There you go.